what's up with this number? Well, that's not right. Well, did you tell them? Well, I'm just seeing this. That's the problem. So at least look at everything. And if we need to, file the extension. So if you don't think they're right, because here's what happens. If you file wrong, you're going to need to file an amended return. Now that's the return we want to avoid. Filing. We do not want to file amended returns because first of all, you're asking to do it. Second of all, now you're making them look at your return so much more closely. Like what happened now? What you say happened? Why you need to file a return? Yeah, I'm in rare form tonight. You don't want to be filing amended returns. So if there's any chance those numbers could change, that's when you want to file an extension. You're listening to the Money Doctor, Money Talk for Modern Entrepreneurs podcast. And I'm your host and founder, Mildred Dillon, CPA. And as a modern entrepreneur, you're not just getting up and going to sit behind a desk all day. Chances are you're probably driving right now with your phone in your hand, mapping your way to your next destination. Because you work online and your systems are mobile, you can work from anywhere. Not key punching, but scrolling through social media or creating your own posts so that you can share your offerings with the world. Oh, you relate? You're a modern entrepreneur? Well, you're going to love what we do here on this podcast because each and every episode and guest will give you tips and strategies that you can use on one of those apps to get your finances in order, in good health, all while on the go. If you're ready to get to work, let's go. And so for this episode, I want to continue talking about just taxes, of course, for those who want to file on time and believe it or not, we all want to file on time. But what I want to do in this episode is really build a case for why you might want to consider filing an extension, even if it's just 1 month. Sometimes we don't need 6 months extra time, nor should you take 6 months. Maybe you can do it in 30 more days. And I've been getting calls coming in that talk about some of the posts that they're seeing or, just even if they're listening to the podcast. Thank you for that. I am getting better metrics now that we're a part of Spotify. But here's the thing. Most of the clients that I work with are larger businesses who've, I've been with me for years. And it's just kind of known. We're not going to put that pressure on ourselves because we have the right to file that extension. But you can file a payment with that extension. And those are really my favorite types because we're doing two things here. We're paying our taxes when they're due or what we think they'll be, but we're still taking that extra time to make sure. We don't want to overpay taxes. Trust me, as business owners, we don't want to overpay our taxes. And what does that mean? Pay too much when we were entitled to pay less. It's our right to pay less tax. So let's take the time to make sure. But let's also not pay penalties and interest so that we waste money owing and paying taxes late when we had accounting systems in place and knew we were going to owe. And so that's kind of another plug for the ABC accounting system setup. I really want to emphasize that. It's not too late to put that system in place. You can do it in 30 minutes. I give you a free guided walkthrough of QuickBooks. With an accounting system in place, we can look back. We can work backwards. We can go to the beginning of this year. Most of the banks, credit unions, institutions that we're linking up to software, because that's what we're doing, they go back further than that. They go back years. So if last year is maybe not done or you're not sure about it or you're still manual, this is what I'm telling folks who call me. Let's go ahead and get this system in place because that's where that comfort level is going to come in, that we got everything and we're going to take advantage of all of our deductions. That's so exciting. And even especially if I'm going to be involved with a new client and they're kind of, adding stuff on a spreadsheet and they're really think they're going to owe tax, but they're not sure. I just have to recommend that because we're definitely going to have something like that in place moving forward. And so since we can go backwards, why not do that?
Yes. And oh my God, Mildred, the course was so what I needed. I found a class. It was a community class. You pay $75. You take the course for, I think, 3 days, and they were going to teach me QuickBooks Online. I went to the class and I came out of the class more confused than when I went in. So then you and I spoke, and I took your course, and oh my God, the light bulbs just started going off. Um, and I'm like, okay, this is just so easy. And the way you said, let tech do the heavy lifting.
Yes.
Yes. And that is so now with QuickBooks Online, I can do the very same for my business and personal. That's what was amazing to me too. Was like I can use QuickBooks to organize my personal finances and my business finances. And all I have to do is go in, set up some charts of accounts, swipe left, swipe right, run some reports, and I can analyze that data and make business decisions, make personal decisions, about my finances, just like that.
What we're trying to do with this course, and thanks for the plug, Charlotte. And if you
Of
go to
course.
the website, you'll see I've actually got a free preview to show you the power. And as Charlotte says, swiping right, swiping left.
Yes. And I've learned so much.
So again, I want to build a case for filing the extension. Ideally with a payment if we can do it, but at least give yourself that extra time. And notice I keep saying give us, because hey, I can help you out with this. I have some really neat ways to get tech involved to speed the process. So on the accounting side, you heard it, but even with taxes, I've got people now snapping and uploading their documents. They don't have to come to my office. More and more and more, you're going to hear me say, let's just do it in-house. Let's pull that in-house. You're not going to steal your identity, right? We're getting so many notifications about just scams and that person clicked the link and they didn't know it. And now all your stuff is out there. So let's just begin to think more like the times that we're in. Filing an extension, here's some things you want to think about. You don't have all of your documents, or you're just not sure. Or you didn't do what's called pull a transcript to make sure you got all your documents. Because if you're wondering if you got, that 1099 from the sale of your property last year, they reported to IRS, you will see it on that transcript. So pull your transcript from IRS. If you think that your document is wrong, I'm seeing that more and more in the IRS publications that are coming out. One of the things that they're really harping on is if you think your numbers are wrong. Trust me, if you're filing an extension and you're waiting until October to file and those numbers are wrong, guess what? It's probably not going to work for you because they're not going to go back. The payer is who they're called when they give you a 1099. They're not going to go back and fix all their stuff for your thing. Probably not. Good luck with that. We've tried that in the past, before pandemics, when I had clients that just, what's up with this number? Well, that's not right. Well, did you tell them? Well, I'm just seeing this. That's the problem. So at least look at everything. And if we need to, file the extension. So if you don't think they're right, because here's what happens. If you file wrong, here's a crazy part on one of the publications I saw just recently. They're encouraging people to file without their W-2. They're still waiting on their W-2. Now, by now, you should have had your W-2s, 1099s. So they're now telling people, well, here's a way for you to file without those documents. But here's the not so much fine print, but it's that last line. But if you get your W-2 and the numbers are different, you're going to need to file an amended return. Now, that's the return we want to avoid. Filing. We do not want to file amended returns because first of all, you're asking to do it. Second of all, now you're making them look at your return so much more closely. Like what happened now? What you say happened? Why you need to file a return? Yeah, I'm in rare form tonight. You don't want to be filing amended returns. So if there's any chance those numbers could change, that's when you want to file an extension. Not an amended return, You want to file an extension to give you more time for the real numbers to come in or for the real numbers to be corrected. Because yes, there are ways to correct your 1099. There are ways to correct your W-2. Let's take advantage of those so that we're not having to file amended returns and draw all of that extra attention to your return. Yes, I've been through this. Okay, I've been through this. I did this. And look, he got his money eventually, but they looked at every single number that we didn't even ask about. They looked at every single number on that return. So no, we don't want to file amended returns. Let's avoid those if at all possible. And I'll do a whole nother podcast if I need to on amended returns. Trust me. Here's when you want to file an amended return. You just need to do it. But I'm not doing that on this one. For now, I want to get people thinking, get in gear and get filed. Okay. So if you know none of this applies to you and, we're just poking around and not getting to it, spring is here, even though it kind of doesn't feel like it in where we are. Spring is here. It's going to start feeling like it. Then summer's going to be here. You're going to want to take those vacations and then back to school. And you know where I'm going with this. Then it's the holidays. It's not going to get easier to file, actually. That's why I've been doing these March Madness posts with respect to getting an accounting system. No, it's not madness to start now. This is a perfect time because it's not going to get easier. There's going to be all kinds of things going on. And I'm not even talking about what's going to happen in the world, this crazy world and economy that we're in. I'm talking about just the things we know are coming after March. This is a perfect time to do that. Plus, we can still have a system in place for payroll and start paying yourself. Here's another reason why I really do like extensions and my clients, just more stuff I want to check before we file and that they need to check or get to me before I can check. We file extensions. And let me tell you, I'm still having the meetings though with everyone. We're still touching base. We're still looking at last year's numbers. Okay, here's your total revenue. Let's go through it and make sure we're not including things that aren't revenue, including things that aren't sales. These are some of the things that we're still doing. Let's talk about how much we're going to pay with the extension. I want us all to be on the same page and understand where that number's coming from. And so, yes, I'm having meetings as if I'm filing, it feels like, but it's worth it to give us more time. Here's another reason to file an extension. If you are married and your spouse has a business and you know they don't have it together. You know they don't have it together. I see it all the time. And so, yeah, you know they're not ready, but you go run and file without them. Now, unless you're filing separate, don't do that. You're going to cause you guys to need that type of return I just said you don't want to file, the amended return, because when they do go to file, that's going to change your numbers if you're filing jointly. And let's face it, you get more tax breaks and it's more favorable tax treatment when you file jointly when you're married. But if you're running off and leaving your spouse and filing without them, that's not really jointly now, is it? Check with your spouse and make sure that their numbers are ready to be included with that return. Here's another one. I know you guys are saying, wow, she don't want to file taxes. Listen, I don't want to file taxes wrong because that's 2 tax returns where you file an amended return. You got to go back in and start putting more numbers in. Here's what we did wrong. Now we got to go back and here's what we should have put. Here's the difference. Now explain to us why you're doing it. Okay, maybe I just already did that podcast by telling you what's involved. So no, I don't want people rushing to file. And then when they find out about this podcast later and they hear me or they see a post and they realize, oops, honey, did we include your business on the return? No, we didn't. I told you I wasn't ready. Role playing here. Guess what? That's when you absolutely, totally want to file an extension. Okay. Just take my word for it. I always have these conversations. Part of what I'm doing with my clients when I touch them. Let's just connect. Let's talk about what happened last year, even though we're not going to file about it yet. One of the things I'm doing is really finding out what is the objective for this return. Are we trying to use this return to get a loan of any kind? It's funny. I sent out my little tax quote link, and it's really quick to get through. And there are like 4 or 5 different objectives for filing. Get the IRS off my back. I want to get the largest refund I can. If you want to see that, I'll jot that in the show notes so you can see it. But yeah, the goal is to let me know before I even talk to someone, what are we trying to do with the taxes? Because it matters, depending on if we're trying to get a loan or not, and you're self-employed 100%, or again, if you're part of a household that has a business, then listen, we need more time. We need more time to pull in the lenders. We need more time for us to get together to make sure the numbers are right before we get those over to the lenders. Because even if we send new numbers, look what's happening. Well, what changed? Okay, what line was that? See, that's just causing confusion. So we want to get it together so we can help you get the loan. As I wrap up this podcast, I want to share with you the importance of knowing if you're a business owner or not, especially since some family businesses, couples could be listening to this. If you're getting 1099s, then that's typically when you might want to take extra time to file, because you've got to find the deductions to what's called write down or reduce 1099s. You want to get that number lower. Make doubly sure you have all your deductions, because you're going to pay tax on that. No taxes have come out. Take a look at your tax documents and see if you've got W-2s, 1099s, if you're not sure. A lot of people don't know. All they know is taxes, put it in a folder for the tax person. That's all they know. But when you hear a podcast like this, I'm hoping that I'm nudging you a little bit to go and just look at everything, make sure it makes sense, make sure it's right. If you don't understand what you're looking at, that's where we come in. That tax quote, we'll go over it. That starts the conversation with me. And so I'll send you that link. You can check off the things that you're seeing, and we can have a talk about it. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. But if you have questions about anything like this at all, you can always send us a message at our Money Doctor page, The Money Doctor, all spelled out, on Facebook, on Instagram, Your Money DR, LinkedIn, Your Money DR, YouTube, Your Money DR, all those places. Thank you so much for listening. Subscribe to the podcast, share it with your family and friends. We just appreciate your support so much. And until next time, Mildred Dillon CPA signing off, saying make it a great day, especially for your money. And we'll see you next episode.